For wild animals, life is all about survival. And in this battle for their own place in the natural world, each has adapted in amazing ways, evolving unique abilities and anatomical mutations, allowing them to thrive in even the toughest environments. And to master the full-time job of staying alive, animals have learnt to employ ingenious tricks and surprising techniques. Whether it's to find a mate, adapt to extreme environments, or outsmart their competition, these animals have unique adaptations, keeping them one step ahead of the game. With the odds stacked against them, animals must play to win in order to survive. In every corner of the Earth, an animal's desire to survive is hardwired into their DNA. But they must often overcome huge obstacles to succeed. To do this, a few cunning creatures have found ingenious solutions to the problems of life in the wild. The edge of the Sahara Desert, Senegal. A surprisingly harsh terrain for a troop of chimpanzees. But they've been here for generations and slowly learnt ways to adapt to this often hostile environment. But it's been one of the most brutal dry seasons for years. 4 months with no rain have left them with almost nothing to eat. Seed pods, encased in inedible fibers, are all that's left. Chewing on a tough bean pod might suppress hunger for a while, but it isn't enough to satisfy the many hungry mouths to feed. And it's not only food that's scarce. There's been no water in their territory for weeks. The chimps will die if they can't find a drinking source. Luckily, the older members of the troop have a trick up their sleeve. They've lived through droughts like this before. In over 50 degrees heat, the oldest member leads the others on a grueling 16-kilometer trek. But when they reach the river, there's nothing left in the channel. The wise old male is undeterred. He picks his spot and starts to dig. The others watch on. Water slowly collects in the hole and is filtered as it seeps through gravel. It's ingenious and a moment to savor. All along the riverbed, others follow the leader's example and dig their own drinking wells. To ensure their survival in times of drought, these chimps use the intelligence of their elders to find solutions to their water problems. In nature, sometimes brains triumph over brawn. And 5,000 kilometers east of Africa, in the forests of South Asia, a species renowned for its superior mental abilities also worship the cleverest in the clan. The arid plains of Sri Lanka are home to one of the biggest populations of wild elephants on Earth. It's the dry season. Food and water are increasingly difficult to come by. This family are led by a matriarch, who is the oldest and wisest elephant. And luckily, she knows what to do in these hard times. Making this dried out grass fit to eat requires a special technique. She starts by kicking the grass, twisting it from the ground. She finally shakes it to remove any soil. These meager pickings will keep the herd going. But to survive the harsher times ahead, the matriarch must use her superior navigation skills to lead them to richer feeding grounds. Every dry season, herds retrace their own ancestral pathways towards a vast lake known as the Minera Tank. Some elephants travel hundreds of kilometers. At the peak of the season, as many as 300 gather on the shores. As the water recedes, it reveals fertile ground where fresh grass can grow. Minera also provides much-needed water, an essential for all animals. These elephants not only need it, but enjoy it. This group love to bathe and socialize at the waterhole. Their trunks can carry up to 10 liters of water, which is useful for showering. A dip in the lake quenches thirst and also brings cooling relief from the heat. Without water, the young in particular are prone to overheating and dehydration. Sri Lankan elephants have smaller ears than their African cousins, so temperature regulation can be a problem. This lake will provide all the elephants' needs for the rest of the dry season. But without the matriarch's incredible memory and knowledge, the herd might not have found their way to water. It's her mental ability that earns her a place at the top of the family tree. And it will be vital for their survival for years to come. An elephant's brain power helps them navigate great distances in order to keep their whole herd alive. But a much smaller species has also devised a surprisingly clever solution to the problem of survival. And it all starts with building a nest. In the rainforests of Madagascar, one peculiar-looking insect is beginning an ambitious construction. This female Giraffe Necked Weevil is sizing up a leaf. Snipping through its veins, she begins to make a nest for her young. But first, she must find a mate. Nearby, two males square up for a fight. With long necks built for battling, they are both after the same prize. As they try to bump each other off the leaf, the female joins them to referee the fight. Once over, the champion claims his prize. It's now that the female starts a remarkable piece of engineering. Using her powerful legs, she starts to fold the leaf in half. She then curls up the end, and inside she lays a single egg. Only in these rainforests, and on this type of leaf, are conditions right for her to make her nest. The female carefully starts to roll up the leaf, while the expectant father guards against any tiny insects that will attack the newly laid egg. As she rolls, she bites tiny notches along the leaf's ribs to form a Velcro-like strip, sticking it together. It's an extraordinary technique. A few final folds, and the nest is complete. Only one thing left to do. She cuts off the leaf, so it falls to the forest floor. Then, the final stroke of genius. When the tiny larvae hatches, it can feed on its protective leaf nest. The weevil's unique building technique requires a lot of effort for just one egg. But Madagascar is also home to another species that uses its ingenuity to solve the problem of housing its offspring, but using a very different approach. This female golden bamboo frog is looking for somewhere wet to lay her eggs. However, water can be hard to find as the sandy soil drains so quickly. Luckily, she has a secret technique. Storm-damaged bamboo stalks provide the perfect solution. During breeding season, these rain-filled reservoirs are meeting places for these unique frogs. And this male is looking for a mate. To attract a female, he'll need a water-filled stem. Males fiercely compete for these precious havens. And this frog has already laid claim to his bamboo love nest. He starts calling. A female arrives, hoping to deposit her spawn, but soon discovers she's been beaten to it. The tiny pool has a tadpole in residence. She needs to find an empty pool as soon as possible. Luckily, this male and his birthing pool are still on the market, and she can safely lay her single fertilized egg. Food is of short supply here, but this frog has another nifty technique. She lays an infertile egg on which her tadpole will feed. She will return repeatedly to ensure the survival of her young. The clever choice of nest site ensures the frog's offspring will have the best chance of survival. But for a species of seabird, a carefully chosen nesting spot may be safe from most predators. But its extreme location brings other dangers. It's the beginning of the breeding season for one hardy bird on these exposed rocks in the Atlantic Ocean. But luckily, she is perfectly adapted to this harsh environment. The white stork. This coastline is home to the only colony of cliff-nesting white storks in the world. Most migrate to Africa to spend the winter months in warmer climes. However, this colony has settled on the Iberian Peninsula thanks to its isolated cliffs. The same nest sites are used year after year. The structures might look fragile, but are 2 meters wide, 3 meters deep, and weighing half a ton. They are sturdy enough to withstand their extreme location. This mother is rebuilding a nest for her upcoming arrivals. Twigs to strengthen the walls, and foliage to provide some much-needed soft furnishings. However, other storks aren't quite as proactive at repairing their nests. Some turn to thievery. It's a risky move, and this culprit has been caught. The original resident fiercely defends her nest. Storks have been known to break opponents' wings during fights. Soon, the dispute is settled, and peace resumes. The female settles on her nest. Up to 6 eggs are laid over the course of a week. For their first 3 weeks, the young can't regulate their own body temperature, so one parent shelters the brood while their partner forages for insects and reptiles. The male returns from a long day hunting, regurgitating the partly digested food for his offspring from a storage compartment in his throat. It's a never-ending task. The chicks can consume up to 60% of their own body weight each day. Despite this, only half are likely to survive, since younger, weaker chicks struggle to compete for food. But starvation is not the only threat in this remote neighborhood. Predators are lurking. Gulls soar above at this time of year. They are keeping watch over their own chicks, but they also have their eyes on the newly hatched storks. They dive-bomb the storks, causing panic in the nest. Their mother stands guard, her beak an effective deterrent. Eventually, the gull retreats, leaving her family safe for now. Battered by Atlantic waves and constant winds, choosing to live on this coastline brings its challenges. But the storks benefit from milder temperatures and an abundance of food. And they now thrive here. By working together to protect their young, thousands of breeding pairs of storks have turned this hostile location into their winter home. And in the calmer inland waters of Central Europe, another pair of clever creatures are also using teamwork to survive in an unexpected habitat. The Danube Delta is the hunting ground of the golden jackal. Usually found in sunnier climes, this quick-witted killer has made these wetlands their home. This male is looking for his next meal, and he has an accomplice. The female will partner him on this mission. Hunting jackals usually work as a team, with the male driving the prey towards the waiting female. But their usual targets are scarce in the delta. So the jackals have adapted to life in the wetlands, and an unusual prey is now top of their menu. Carp. These bottom-feeding fish thrive amongst blooms of algae and bask on the surface of oxygen-starved waters, gulping for air. But this strategy can be their downfall. In summer, casualties can be stranded as the water evaporates, and the fish slowly suffocate as oxygen levels are depleted. Birds are the first to the scene. But they aren't alone for long. The jackal spots the commotion and cautiously approaches. This opportunity is too good to miss. These canines have learned to take full advantage of this plentiful food source, making life viable in their unusual wetland habitat. Thanks to their highly adaptable nature, jackals prove that by using their wits, they can survive in almost any environment. But one animal, living close to the urban jungle, has learnt to avoid the effort of hunting and rely on the hard work of others. In the Amazonian metropolis of Manaus, fishermen take to the waters every day. They haul their nets into the water and wait for the catch of the day, unaware of the predator lurking below. The pink river dolphin. It is one of the Amazon's most iconic animals, with locals believing in their magical powers. These dolphins have learned not to hunt for themselves, but to sit and wait for the fishermen. Within minutes of the net being in the water, it is surrounded by river dolphins, hoping for an easy meal. These intelligent mammals use people to their advantage, using their natural abilities to adapt to life near a big city. Pink river dolphins have had millions of years to perfect their survival strategy. The key is their hunting prowess. To help them navigate underwater, they use echolocation. Their clicks and buzzes are focused into sound beams by their bulging foreheads. Although all dolphins echolocate, pink river dolphins' clicks are at a higher frequency, giving them heightened senses, enabling them to detect objects as small as a pin. Once they find a shoal of fish, whisker-like bristles on their snout help them zero in on a target. Despite the challenges of an urban environment, the street-smart dolphins have devised many ways to make hunting easier. But when every creature is out for itself, survival in some of the planet's toughest environments can turn into an outright battle. The deserts of Jordan play host to an evolutionary arms race. Temperatures here can reach 45 degrees. And hungry predators are always on the prowl. So staying alive takes some impressive tricks. Like lizards, grasshoppers and locusts use the heat of the sun to become more active. As the temperature soars, it puts a spring in their step. They can jump 200 times their own body length, undergoing forces of nearly 20 G with each leap. allowing them to evade danger in the blink of an eye. But there's another insect here with an even smarter strategy. This camouflaged mantis has evolved a tactic to catch even the most athletic prey. With 5 eyes, it can spot a meal up to 15 meters away. The unique ability to see in 3D also gives it excellent depth perception. It can lie in wait for its food. And when it comes close, a lightning-fast strike ensures there's no escape. While the mantis has evolved remarkable eyesight to survive life in the desert, on the Galapagos Islands, another ingenious animal has found a solution to a unique problem to make sure he never goes hungry. On the South Plaza Island roams a prehistoric-looking beast. A land iguana, a large, stocky lizard that can grow over 1 meter long and weigh up to 11 kilos. These reptiles feed mainly on low-growing plants and shrubs, which provide them with moisture during the island's long dry periods. But their favorite snack is a prickly pear cacti. These plants have grown extra long trunks with fleshy pads and flowers, making them extra juicy. However, they are covered in sharp spines, making them a tricky treat. But these spikes don't put off the iguana. It's found a clever technique to remove them. He rolls the fruit in soil. This method removes most of the spines, making it ready to eat. But the iguana has to further adapt, as the plant is changing. As it gets older, the spines on the trunk are replaced by a thick, scaly bark. These older plants become too tall for the iguanas to reach. But this doesn't deter the hardy lizards. They have another tactic up their sleeve. Each iguana claims a tree. They sit patiently in the plant's shade for up to a month, waiting for the ripe fruit to drop. Success. One has fallen. But there's a problem. Feeding territories here overlap due to the large number of iguanas on the island. Claiming fallen fruit is not straightforward. This lizard bobs his head towards the intruder. It's a sign of aggression, meaning stay away. Undeterred, this bold trespasser steals his neighbor's bounty. Land iguanas have developed surprisingly intelligent solutions to their prickly problems. But for marine creatures, life in the ocean provides a much greater challenge. To exist here, one animal has evolved some remarkable survival tactics. The waters of Egypt hide a secret colony who can appear and disappear in the blink of an eye. The garden eel. These slippery stalkers live in groups of up to 1,000 individuals, growing up to 40 centimeters long. They feed on plankton and any small fish that happen to pass by. These eels use their tails to burrow into the seabed. However, this is not to find prey. It is to make a permanent home. Once settled in, they never leave. As well as providing a solid anchor, these holes provide the perfect retreat from predators. Never straying from their den is the garden eel's technique for surviving in these hostile waters. But the eels can only feed on the tiny fish that stray into their waiting jaws. Another aquatic predator prefers to seek out much bigger fish. This voracious hunter seeks its prey in the lagoons at the edge of the Black Sea. A dice snake. He is quick on land, but prefers to feed in the water. He is a fish hunter and uses his incredible adaptations to find prey. The water in the delta is murky, so this snake relies on his incredible sense of smell to track down potential prey. He is looking for small fish lurking at the bottom. He can hunt underwater for nearly 10 minutes at a time. A valve in his nose and an ingenious twisted gut keeps the water out. But he will soon need to come up for air. He takes a breath on the surface before the hunt continues. Dice snakes can eat nearly 50 different species of prey. But luckily for the fish population, they only need to hunt once a week. This reptile is a real survivor. One of the most successful snakes in the world, its ingenious adaptations have allowed it to thrive in desert oases high-altitude mountain valleys, cities, and coastlines. The dice snake has learned how to use smell and stealth to ambush its prey. But other animals are much less subtle in their search for food. High up in Chile's forest canopy is a noisy neighbor no one can ignore. This male Magellanic woodpecker is hungry, but his prey is in hiding. His rather noisy table manners can be heard through the whole forest. He's not the only woodpecker in the trees today. He is joined by a female. Both are looking for the same prize. The race is on to find the juicy treat hiding underneath the bark. The woodpecker's toes face both forwards and backwards to help keep a firm grip. Stiffened tail feathers act as a tripod, providing perfect stability. The female's persistence pays off, and she finds a beetle larvae. The male may have lost the first food fight, but decides to battle on in the search for lunch, while she digests her well-deserved feast. To survive this far south, the woodpecker's specialized hunting skills are vital. But another species here in South America has been forced to develop a more surprising survival tactic. Here in the wilderness of Patagonia, one animal is perfectly adapted to this harsh desert life. The large, hairy armadillo. This creature is covered with protective bony plates. Armadillos are omnivores. Those that live closer to the equator mainly eat insects and plants. But here, this armadillo has had to find a way to cope with a lack of resources. To overcome the problem, this male has developed an unusual taste for meat. He has found an abandoned kill. He has poor eyesight, but his amazing sense of smell tracked it down. This hare will provide a nutritious meal for the armadillo. But as the temperatures climb, the armadillo needs to retreat underground where his meal can be saved for later. Luckily, this species is an accomplished digger, and its powerful claws make light work of burying. Special membranes in its nose allow it to extract oxygen from the soil without inhaling. A useful technique for an animal that spends half its time face down in the dirt. This armadillo has adapted its diet in order to survive. But some animals are capable of far greater feats of culinary genius. And one has even learned how to use tools to prepare their food. On the hot, humid Caribbean island of Trinidad, a primate is on the hunt. The white-throated capuchin. has developed its own special skills to survive life in the Caribbean. It's learned that the island's cocoa-ripe palm trees are a rich source of food. Their prehensile tail enables them to cling onto the branches so both hands are kept free for eating and foraging. They aren't only great climbers, they've also figured out how to use the tides to their advantage. At low tide, freshwater conches are left exposed. These are the ultimate prize for opportunistic monkeys. The conches are encased in a rock-solid shell, but the capuchins have found a way to access the meat inside. They break them open by smashing them on a tree. Using tools to open their food puts the capuchins amongst the smartest animals on the planet. These ingenious creatures may live in extreme environments, but over time, they have developed the tools and techniques to not only survive, but thrive. When the odds are stacked against them, each animal fights to live another day, proving that it's often the smartest creatures that triumph in the battle for survival.